everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Adebanjo Faith Adeola and I film about faith, parenting and lifestyle from Lagos, Nigeria. So today I'll be talking about my baby feeding experience. So we all know that in this part of the world, feeding babies is usually a tug of war. Or for mothers out there whose children don't give them any problem as regards feeding at all, I would say kudos to you. You're so blessed to have children who does not disturb you as per feeding. And it's a concern actually, because you won't be happy, or as a mother, I personally am not usually happy when my child does not get to eat. Okay, if we remember in my very first video, I talked about discovering a method of feeding children that makes it less stressful for us and also developmentally beneficial for the child also, and that method is called the baby-led weaning. So in this video I would briefly, to the best of my knowledge, explain what baby-led weaning is and then share my own experience as regards that. Note, a quick disclaimer, I'm not a pediatrician, I'm not a food specialist, I'm not a nutritionist. So all I'm sharing here is just based on my own personal experience and my personal research. So I would advise that you also, before trying out any of this, please go on your own personal research, because we're talking about our children here. We have to be 100% safe. Now, what is baby-led weaning? Baby-led weaning, to me, it's just a method of giving your child from 6 months, the age of 6 months, allowing them to feed themselves. I think that's just the simplest way I can put it. Allowing your baby to feed yourselves. The normal method we are used to is feeding the child from a spoon when they clock 6 months or 4 months, based on when you want to get them weaned, and then gradually introducing the food to them, mashing all the food into purees and all of that. But in baby-led weaning, it is swapping straight from breast milk to solid food, straight ahead. Yes, this may seem strange to many of us, but I discovered that it is very possible to make children, or to allow babies feed themselves. So although there are different guidelines to this, because you don't want to hand over something that is too tough, because of course they have just gums for them to eat, and then you also don't want to hand over things that they can easily swallow and then would hang in their throat and choke them. So there are a few guidelines to follow while presenting your food to your baby when you want to follow the baby-led weaning method. I would advise that for more inquiries or detailed inquiries about this, please try to do some research. But briefly, I would just say that most of the time the food is cut into chunky, straight. For example, if you're giving a child potatoes, boiled potatoes, it is cut in such a way that the little hand can grab it without it falling out, and then they can chew with their gum on it. Okay, so if you're presenting, for example, apple to them, they can eat apple, but first of all the skin has to be peeled, and then you boil it, cutting it in finger-sized shape so that they'll be able to handle. Then you also need to, there are some foods that once you know that this child can hang in their throat. I don't know how best to explain that, but if you want me to do a video that explains the details of this, then I would sure work on that, but you have to let me know in the comment section below. But so far so good. Generally, that is just a rough idea of what baby-led weaning is. Now, my own experience. When I discovered this method, I was excited about it because the benefits attached to baby-led weaning really is something that I looked forward to, instilling in my own child. One of which fosters independence. The baby or the child gets to eat when they want to eat, which we know might be, you know, a kind of comma, especially to us as a parent. How will you say you will eat when you want to eat? But anyways, the major advantage that got me attracted is the fact that the child gets to be independent, one, and two, you don't get to struggle to poke and put things in your child's mouth while they scream. And you know our the olden days method of feeding a child, because they are alenumajan, meaning you have mouth but you cannot eat. That's in Yoruba language. We tend to force them, and you know, in the olden days they even turn them upside down, you know, all of those dangerous practices. These days parents even still stand the head of their children. I mean, they face them, they don't turn the head upside down, they just face them up, but still force the food down their throat, like this pap now, they pour it into their hand, close the nose gradually, so that the child would be forced to just keep gulping it. And oh, I tell you, it is a very stressful job forcing a child to eat. And it is even more worrisome when you don't want to force your child and that child does not eat. You are so much concerned. So my own experience, when I discovered that, I also discovered that it helps the child to be independent. And then, you know, they are the ones picking the food for themselves and putting in their mouth. So it's like play to them, though they are eating. And they learn also this movement, hand to mouth, and all of this developmental movement that the children grabbing things, also learning to pick things with their finger when the time comes, using the spoon, the fork, and then learning to use the cup. Okay, an open cup, not just the straw normal baby cups, but learning to use an actual open cup, using even the metal spoon, glass cups, and ceramic plates that we as adults use. You know, teaching the children to use the normal things, so they end up becoming very careful compared to a child that has never used a glass cup before. For instance, a child who uses glass cup, at least was trained using a glass cup, would be more careful when they are around such ways compared to a child who is used to using the plastic cup. I've heard of a child that of a story of a parent that trained the child with the glass cup, of course, and luckily for that parent, that child never broke, or those two children never broke the cup at all. But whenever they are with their plastic cups or plastic anything, the way they handle it is obvious that they know that this is plastic. So all of this benefits put together, and while my child gets to eat his or her food, though they mess the place up and all of that, I also get to eat at the same time. So it's like a family eating. They see me eating, they are eating. So I tried it. I started using this method, and you know, it started working for a while. I would also be uploading a ton of videos. I don't know how that will work, but I'll be uploading some videos of our early days when we started using this method, and I tell you, it was working. My daughter was picking up fast. She was already learning to use the cup. She was eating independently, at least based on what I did my research. But you know, now we Nigerians, I don't know if it's Nigerians or Africans generally, we just see it as the child needs to eat and the stomach has to be big and hard to be sure that that child is belly full. But well, those 6 months, 7 months, I just allowed her to just do her thing, cleaned up. She was picking, when it was time to eat noodles, she ate the noodles. I did rice balls, I did yam balls and pancakes for babies, all of those, and she was actually picking up. Though compared to the children you feed purees, she wouldn't eat as much, but she was picking up, and it seemed okay based on my research. But I got tired. Oh, my dear brothers and sisters, it is not easy to do all of this cleanup and all of that. So I, because of my inconsistency, didn't follow it through. And right now she can eat independently. So it got to a point whereby, because of this mind of I don't think you're eating enough, I had to start to try to force her to take purees like pap and all of those, and it was struggle. Like, she didn't just want to even taste purees. It's like she just preferred to eat what we were eating. than purees. I should have just continued with her like that and followed her, but we resorted to fight a lot of times, and that struggle I wanted to avoid, I ended up struggling the struggle until I think she clocked 1, and then miraculously she just, before even she clocked 2, I think from 10-11 months, she just started eating. Now when she clocked 12 months, I weaned her from breast milk, and she's just literally started taking all of those purees she doesn't take before. Now if I had continued with the baby led weaning, I'm sure by now she would have been using her spoon and fork, but I feed her with the spoon those purees, and then when it comes to eating maybe akara balls, these bean balls, and in noodles, eggs, fried eggs, and some other things, she tries to use the fork to poke on it. She's better be using fork than spoon. In fact, the spoon is still a no-no. She can't use a spoon yet on her own. And I think if I rate myself using the baby led weaning, partially using the baby led weaning method, I would rate our success 40 to 50%, just because we were not consistent with it. Maybe 50%, so that I will not be too hard on myself. But I believe that this baby led weaning is a fantastic method of weaning children, and in the nearest future, I believe that I'll try again, and of course I'll bring us all along. So if you think you are having this struggle with your child and it is not easy getting him or her to eat, and they are Elenumajon like I said before, please try baby led weaning. It could be messy. You would you can even just wear only diaper while the child eats, so that you'll be able to clean up after. But trust me, if you consistently do that, teaching the child to use the cup, to use the spoon, to use the fork, and even use their hands to eat, and as they play with the food, of course, it would pay off. Ideally by 12 months, 13 months, a child should be able to independently use the cup, use the spoon, and use the fork. So, but whatever your age your child is, do well to try it. Just make sure you follow the guidelines of the kind of food if your baby is so young, especially from 6-7 months, and so that you would avoid choking hazards. If you want me to do such videos, please just put it in the comment section below. Thank you so much for staying to the end of this video. I hope you gained 1 or 2 things from it. Please do well to check out the videos I'll be posting, especially based on the our early baby led weaning early days. I'll be posting different foods and how she ate, and then drinking with a cup too. So please, I would like you to just check them out and drop your comments about what you think, and if you tried it and it's working for you too, please also let us know, and let us know how you got consistent with it. Thank you once again for staying to the end of this video. See you in my next video. Please do well to subscribe, because I release parenting content, Montessori related videos, and videos that just helps us train these modern day children to be independent, self-confident, and also godly. Thanks for staying, and see you next time. Bye.